Hey everyone, today is Thursday, the 4th of June 2020. This is The Gap, episode 519. I'm Luke Lawrie. Joab Gilroy is here. How's your week going, Joab?
It's a weird week, Luke. It's a weird week.
It's been a weird week.
How's your week going? How's weird? Like, are you in? Have you got a curfew or some shit?
Yeah, we are. So we were supposed to come out of lockdown on Monday, I believe. They were going to start they've started sort of making the rules a little bit more lenient. So they've got this sort of 3-month plan of how things are going to open. And I think by mid-August, we should be back to being able to go out to a bar, things like that. And so they put out this plan on the week before, and we're like, Monday things are gonna go good. And then the police decided to do something stupid, which they've done many a times. And so now we are in a curfew from 8 p.m. generally till 5 a.m. and that started on the weekend. So I do not know if my phone will start going crazy during this podcast, but usually we get some sort of notification through our phones or they'll just interrupt the TV and say,
Really?
You're in curfew, starts at, these times, blah, blah, blah. Don't go outside your house, basically. So
that is fucked.
Yeah. So it's been a pretty hectic week, pretty disgusting week, actually. Just watching all this stuff play out. We didn't generally watch movies on the weekend or late at night. Friday night we just watched the news because it was just kind of unbelievable what was happening out in the world, in the country we live in at the moment. So yeah, it's been pretty hectic just watching the news, keeping up to date with everything that's going on. But then also sort of watching how it's gone from one small community and then sort of exploded out into basically all of the states in the US and then become this global thing now.
Yeah. It's pretty fucking cooked. It makes sense that it's exploded worldwide, to be honest. Obviously it seems endemic in the States. But it's not like it doesn't exist elsewhere. And this trend of police violence and the militarization of police is just, I guess it's a bit difficult to ignore, and especially if they keep throwing it in people's faces. What surprises me is how gung-ho American police forces appear to be about making things worse. It is so weird. They just keep escalating shit. They're I don't know. Australia is not infallible in this situation.
Right.
We've got a lot of our own issues, and some of them have even reared their head this fucking week. This week in particular, directly after Scummo is all, we don't need to import controversy from America, and then we don't need to, because we've got police officers slamming Indigenous kid faces into the ground and stuff. There's no need to import. We're doing it ourselves. But at the same time, there is a stark difference between Aussie cops and US cops. I mean, the militarization levels are nowhere near what they are in the States. They got fucking, even as far fucking Die Hard, they're rolling up in fucking tanks and stuff, and terrorists / robbers are bringing fucking rocket launchers just to deal with that inevitability and stuff. It's they've got hardware like similar over here, but it's nowhere near the same level. So there's that, and there's the fact that a lot of our cops are well educated and stuff. That doesn't mean that there aren't systemic issues. It's just staggering the
Mm.
way that America has gone in the direct opposite direction. They've gone like less educated. They've gone for fucking more violent. Like the sorts of people who get cut from the fucking military because they're too fucking aggressive, which is an insane concept. Like, yeah, I don't know, man. America seems like it goes from one fuck thing. Like, how are there cops just letting dudes wander around with fucking
Assault
machine
rifles.
guns? Yeah. Protesting not being able to get a fucking haircut on 1 week, and then literally the next week, tear gassing peaceful protesters who aren't armed at all. Like, what the fuck is that?
Mm.
That is so cooked.
Yeah.
And
And
it's
I've been watching a lot of it, like a lot. I generally watch a lot of news anyway, but it's sort of even more so the last 2 weeks, a week and a half that it's been going down. And yeah, for the most part, it is peaceful protesting. That first day wasn't as much. Like they were definitely very upset, um, and decided to burn down the police station. Some people, but for the most part, it's been pretty peaceful. The issues that are rising afterwards, later at night, when people are taking advantage of the police presence, not being able to handle the entire city, depending on where it is, right? And then
yeah,
looting and like organized crime that are looting and that sort of thing, or people like actual criminals. It's not the protesters that are breaking into stores stealing shit for the most part. And so they're like the government that is in power at the moment is trying to lump those people into the protests and say that's the protesters that are doing, or the rioters they're calling them. Um, yeah, and so sort of trying to justify that this force is needed. And you can see the videos online of peaceful protesters, like when he wanted to get that photo at the front of the church, so he tear
yeah,
gassed like everybody. Um, like hopefully something comes out of that, because I saw the Australian Prime Minister wanted some sort of insight into it, because an Australian cameraman was fucking punched with a Captain America shield
yeah,
in the chest, and then punched in the face, and then the female reporter was like smashed over the back of the head with a police baton.
yeah.
So hopefully, like something comes out of it. Like I'd be on the phone,
It'd be cool. It
like
would
what the
be
fuck you doing,
so
dickhead?
fucking. It'd be so fucked if something came out of it because of that, as opposed to
Hmm.
the real reason why they're protesting, though.
I
The
know, but
whole reason they're protesting.
at least
Like,
these other leaders would be on the phone to this dickhead, being like, "What the fuck are you doing over there? Get a grip." Um, as
I mean,
opposed to
yeah. Well, I
him, what
mean,
he's
from
doing at
that
the moment.
perspective, like Scummo wasn't even going to say anything. Like,
Mm,
you could, they were pressing him on the issue, and he didn't want to comment on it at all. And then until the Channel 7 news team on the ground there
mm,
got attacked, assaulted, and then like then he has to say something. So yeah, from that perspective, you're 100% right. Like, yeah, they just they need an excuse. They need, like, dirtbag world leaders like Scummo need an excuse to actually say something, because otherwise, I think his entire fucking platform is to just let Trump do whatever Trump does, and just sort of, I mean, his entire platform is to do as little as fucking possible as it is.
mm,
Somehow skate through and fucking still look okay. People think he's done a great job about the coronavirus, even though his job was fucking, the states will deal with it. I don't want to fucking, I'm going to go on holiday to Hawaii again. Like, yeah, I don't know. It is all 100% cooked. And I'm watching American and just flabbergasted, like staggered. I was hanging out with some friends on the weekend, we were finishing up Betrayal Legacy, and one of their sisters is over in San Fran as well, like you guys are,
Mm.
and she, I think, is about like just got approval from the multinational company that she works for to just move back to Australia, like just move back because they're like the company she works for. They're all going. They're all allowed to work from home for the indefinite future.
Sure. Yeah, I
So
think like
she's like,
companies like Google and that are basically for the rest of the year work from home.
yeah. And so they're like, well, if I'm working from home, why don't I just work from home in Australia? What the fuck?
Hmm.
What difference, I guess? And yeah, so I mean, and that was just coronavirus related shit. That wasn't even fucking uh fully justified non-stop protesting related shit. Um yeah, it's pretty cooked. And then obviously, I mean, this brings up another pretty fucking like, fucking me listening to me stumble through fucking trying to get my thoughts out on this. It's weird that I can talk for fucking 15 hours a week about what I did and didn't like about a video game, but I try to fucking I don't know, get through what I think about a situation like what's happening in the world, and I just can't fucking get there in
Right.
any eloquent way. But like it's a weird situation, a weird time for fucking video game companies. You got to balance. There's like this balancing act, right? Obviously we'll talk about it later, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if we will. A bunch of companies are pulling like pushing back their stuff, pushing back
Sure.
their announcements and stuff. And like releases. Call of Duty isn't doing season 4 for uh Call of Duty, I guess. And PlayStation isn't doing their reveal events tomorrow, and I think Cyberpunk's delayed as well, if I saw it in the notes correctly.
Hmm.
Um, and there is like an air of like there's like two sides of that, right? Like on one hand, um, I think yeah, like there needs to be space made for the discussions that absolutely need to be had about all this shit, all this unrest,
Hmm.
all this fucking this nightmare that goes on every day for I guess African American colored people of color around the world at the hands of police,
Sure.
minorities at the hand of police, um, and at the same time, there I guess needs to be something to lighten the mood because otherwise people like we're coming off fucking however many months of people just downward spiraling as they get more and more depressed about being locked indoors and not able to have their creature comforts and all that kind of stuff. Um and yeah, so like I don't know. I noticed OzGamers uh has opted to not post any news for the rest of the week.
Hmm.
And I think they're not alone. I think a lot of different places are doing similar stuff. Um, or they took, Tuesday off or whatever. I don't know. It's a very interesting. I think you need to be very firm in
Hmm.
uh in your reasons for halting that content. Because yeah, I think otherwise it can like come off as a little pandering or patronizing or whatever.
Right.
I think PlayStation did a good job. Uh, I guess what I'm trying to reconcile is the idea that PlayStation. I think PlayStation did a good job, right? And they made the right move by
Sure.
pushing back their reveal event. And I
Yeah.
think cynical people will be like, "Oh, they just didn't want to be overshadowed in the news or whatever the fuck." I've definitely seen some people say stuff like that, but that's horseshit. Like, I think there is room to believe that, yeah, obviously. at some level they probably didn't want that to happen, but at the same time they didn't want to like overwhelm on any level what is happening. And
Yeah.
at the same time, you look at, a game like Valorant releases this week, and uh they're like, maybe we can bring a uh small amount of light to your life in a dark time. And I
Right.
think that makes sense as well. And I think there are, that's what I'm saying. Like there are two sides to this, and I think they're both reasonably well justified. And I think it's a pretty tricky fucking thing for companies to navigate. Uh I don't think it's gonna be easy for anyone to do well.
Hmm.
But yeah, we'll just have to fucking power through and see how it fucking goes.
Yeah,
Anyway.
you've had a lot of companies come out in support, and others are doing a better job than others, like EA, who talked about I think things like donating money and having like workshops and that sort of stuff, getting some of these voices heard. And
Mhm.
then you had Infinity Ward today release a statement saying that basically they don't see their game as a place to have racist content, and then put forward like a list of things that they wanted to do going forward to try
Mm.
and fix some of those issues. And they talked about having like additional resources to monitor um, racist content, adding better in-game reporting tools, adding extra filters and restrictions so that you can't do things like that during your creating usernames. Um, and then increasing the one down here says increasing permanent bans to root out repeat offenders, and also making it easier for people to report in game. And like that's something we've talked about a lot on this show, like something that like Ubisoft has done with Rainbow Six Siege and trying to get rid of the problems they've had in that community, of being like, all right, if you do something and we ban you, it's sort of this escalating thing. The first time it'll be like 24-hour ban, but if you do it again, then it's gonna be, I don't know the exact figures, but it'll be like a week. And then if you do it again, then permanent ban. That's it. And I think that is the way that all games should go. Like not even games, like fucking chat in like Twitch or YouTube. Like some of the heinous shit you see coming out of that is ridiculous. And I think if you start getting rid of some of the comments that are in there and trying to monitor them better, it just sort of starts making the world like a better place. You don't have fuckheads constantly thinking, "Oh, that must be okay to do," so because they're not getting in trouble for it, so I'll do it as well. Um, and so I feel like all, at least online games at this stage, need better ways to track a lot of this stuff and for players to report it. Like, look how hard it was for us to report players in game in like Call of Duty to just basically do anything. It's such a nightmare. You've got to go into like 4 different menus to actually find what you need to do. Um, so yeah, I think that's a good starting point, at least for online communities where there's a lot of this stuff that you see constantly that is a problem, not just for racism, but sexism and all that sort of stuff, where you have a female jump in and they start talking in game, then they start getting shit put on them. Like, there's so many better ways that these companies can try and fix some of these issues, and they just haven't really seemed to care about it. Because at the end of the day, like I don't understand their thinking because they're losing players by having a lot of these dickheads be absolute assholes. But they
Yep.
think that if they remove these people, those people won't come back anymore. But it's sort of having this other negative effect, and I don't see why they don't want to fix it. Um, Same with like, yeah, same with Twitch and all that sort of stuff. Like, I just don't see why that stuff isn't moderated better. In terms of if you do something wrong, you'll get a ban, and it's like if you do it again, then just get rid of them, just fire them off into the fucking over
I
to the
think
moon.
Australia has a very different relationship with the concept of the free speech
Sure,
compared
yeah,
to America. Like obviously this past week has proven again for the umpteenth time that the American ideal of free speech is fucking tenuous at best. because apparently free speech applies to fucking wankers with guns who want haircuts, but it doesn't apply to black people who don't want to be murdered by cops. Like, obviously, that concept is fucking all over the place in America, but they hold on to it, the idea in this way that, like, it is beyond fucking common sense, and they believe that the right to free speech and that like entitles them to be able to say whatever they want, whenever they want, wherever they want. And so you wind up in this situation where I think companies trying to do business in America are, I guess, hesitant to like put in policies quite like I honestly think that the reason Rainbow Six put in its policy is because it's at heart a French company, and they aren't burdened by the same insane I guess concept of all encompassing free speech. And I think that a lot of other companies run into the same thing. I mean, it is a very tricky thing, right? Like it is the idea of free speech and Australia's lack thereof, lack of free expression, or at least written in stone free expression, is why for the longest time games kept fucking getting banned, right? In Australia, right? It was like there is no right to free speech or right to free expression written down anywhere in Australian law in a way that entitles us to play games where we do drugs and stuff, and that like so there is that situation, and yet at the same time the version that Americans seem to believe in, where they're allowed to say the N word as many times as they can on fucking in Call of Duty games. Yeah, that's not how that works either. Saying stuff in game chat, that's a private forum. They're allowed to ban people for saying whatever the fuck they want. They could ban you for saying Call of Duty is shit if they wanted to. I mean,
and
there
you
would be a
agree to their
righteous.
terms and conditions and all that sort
Yeah,
of stuff.
exactly. And yeah, like you have to fucking abide by those rules. It's a private company and they can do whatever they want. I think it's just that American companies feel they can't. There are inalienable concepts, Yeah, but Call of Duty, I think Infinity Ward are making the right move. I mean, I've been playing Valorant since it came out, and I tried to report the three people who had some form of the N word written conspicuously in their name already. I don't know how you're able to make a fucking account with that word in your fucking name, but people find a way. This is in Australia. Like I know it happens a lot in America, but like this is over here, so it must be pretty fucking common if they've found some way to do it. And yeah, I couldn't, like, the report system wasn't working. I get the feeling that Valorant, the OCE, the APAC version of Valorant, might be sort of the fucking redheaded stepchild, because apparently there was some fucking battle pass bullshit that wasn't working, and they fixed it for every region except for APAC.
Right.
And I think they still haven't fixed it in APAC, and it's been like fucking 2 or 3 days now. So I get the feeling that nothing is quite like they've just barely the Samsung smart fridge that's running the servers for Valorant in OCE is just barely getting games going, let alone fucking, because we're getting pack loss and all this kind of shit. Everyone's talking about how it's got the best fucking hit reg in any game they've ever fucking played, and I'm like, I don't know about that, because I'm gonna watch the tape back, and I'm pretty sure I hit that cunt 4 times, but it says I hit him once. And I watched the tape back, and I hit that cunt 4 times, but it says I hit him once. And yeah, everyone's like, "Oh, the hit reg." No, I think the OC servers are fucking 2 cans on a piece of string, and so the report system's down, the battle pass system's down. Fucking finding friends. Played a game with junglers, 2 games with junglers last night. And it took us fucking like 15 minutes to actually find each other in their fucking friend system. Yeah. So like that aside, I can't believe those names got through. And like I got fully fucking sidetracked, but I can't believe those names got fucking through in the first place. Like, how did that not just get banned up front? I don't understand. It's ridiculous. I'm sure
they spent all their time on their
report...
fucking anti-cheat.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they had to go to work on it. But yeah, like you know, the names were disguised, but like surely at some point you go through every fucking possible variance of the disguises. I mean, there can't be that many ways to disguise that word. Like, you're limited. An I, an L, or a 1, I suppose, and 3 or an E, or like, you know, like, yeah, there aren't that many fucking variants. Like, just fucking ban all the variants. It's pretty easy. Just don't let people make the fucking account with that name. Anyway, yeah, I relish the day when I no longer have to see garbage in chat. Like, I 100% still see. I mean, every time a Warzone server has the all chat on, it is the fucking worst of humanity. Like, I'm like, just fucking, yep, get the boat, Noah. Let's go. Fucking
Yeah, because it's generally you're playing console players, right, as well. And so when somebody dies, you can hear their all chat. It switches it on.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Sometimes it's excellent because you can hear people just rage so hard, and other times
sometimes the rage is awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes the rage is just strap a rocket to the planet and yeet us into the sun. Yeah. Anyway, shit's cooked, I guess, is what we're getting at.
Yep.
And like I was saying, yeah, like I don't know, I don't feel eloquent enough to really get into all that kind of stuff, but I'm glad we talked through it. 'Cause it's fucked. There are, you know, loads of ways that you can do stuff to help out, sign petitions, donate, all that kind of stuff. Do it if you want to. Don't if you don't, I guess. But video games, shall we just kick off into Valorant right now, or should we
May as well?
Yeah,
because it's out now, right? So this is it's now free to play.
It's free to play and out everywhere.
Yeah. So this is Riot's first person competitive shooter.
Yes. First person Counter-Strike ripoff. Yeah, I uninstalled it. I've uninstalled it. It's gone. My main reason for uninstalling it was because I didn't want to have to turn on Vanguard every time I turn on my fucking computer. My second reason for uninstalling it is because I don't like it on a fundamental level. But I did find that, like, if it was on my computer, I would load it up just to see if I could work out what I didn't like about it over and over again. I've uninstalled it. I think I've worked out why. So Valorant is, it's a hybrid between Overwatch and Counter-Strike. So it's halfway between one and the other.
I think it's more Counter-Strike than Valorant. It's definitely sort of like Counter-Strike with abilities.
Yeah, like that's definitely it. Like, it's definitely more Counter-Strike than Overwatch, but you can see the influences of both, I think. Right? which is like you've got two teams, only bomb maps. You go in, you set up the spike, not a bomb. Like, yeah, I don't know. Give this feeling that it was like, I think I've said this before, that it was created in a lab, right? Like that it's been designed from the ground up,
Right.
and like, oh yeah, it's we can't call it a, like, don't plant the bomb, plant the spike on the spike side, not the bomb side. And no real guns, but they all look like guns. And it's two teams. We don't give them names. There's no terrorists or counter terrorists. They're attackers and defenders.
Hmm.
And yeah, like even Rainbow Six, your primary objective is to defuse a bomb.
Yeah.
But
But it's a training exercise.
yeah, it's blue v blue. It's all operators versus operators. They're
Hmm.
all good guys. But it's still bombs, Anyway, there's only spike maps. There's only DE maps in Valorant, to use Counter-Strike lingo. And it's two teams. You play 13 rounds on one side, and then you switch sides and you play 13 on the other.
Yep.
And is it 12? 12 aside. I don't know.
Something
It's first
like
to
that.
13.
Yeah.
It's first to 13, so I think it's 12 aside. And that's about it. That's the game. You go for 12 rounds on one, like, attacking, and after that you go for 12 rounds defending. It's Counter-Strike with abilities. I don't like. There's not much else to really say about it, honestly. They've deliberately aped a lot of Counter-Strike elements, like a significant amount. There's
It feels like
economy.
Counter-Strike. Like the shooting feels like Counter-Strike when you play it. It's
Yeah. Like,
it's
they
so weird.
specifically went out there to make it feel like Counter-Strike
Yeah.
1.6. They've said this a billion times. I personally didn't love the shooting in Counter-Strike 1.6, so that doesn't help me all that much. Although apparently it's more forgiving in a lot of elements, like a lot of Counter-Strikey elements. But like counter strafing and stuff like that. But I am still struggling to get out of, like, I've spent the last couple of days struggling to get out of fucking Call of Duty brain. So all
You
of
just run
that's
in.
lost on me. If I headshot a cunt on the first bullet, I'm dead anyway. So fuck
Yeah.
it.
And there's no shield either, so that can't be good
There's
for
no
you.
shield, so no insta win, no guaranteed win.
You were just
Like the
standing
shield.
behind other players.
I actually stood in front of another player yesterday. To like last night while playing with Jung, I just stood in front of my guy while he was planting the bomb, because he was putting the bomb down in the dumbest fucking spot. Holy shit! I'll get to that, but it's,
Spike.
I don't know. The spike. It's a Counter Strike game. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I guess the idea is that it's an evolution of Counter Strike. I personally feel that Riot is astroturfing the fuck out of Reddit right now with positive reports, because they all seem to talk about how much. I don't know if you've seen this, but every time anyone speaks about Valorant outside of one of the Valorant subreddits, they always go, "This game is getting so much heat on Reddit, but I really like it." They all use the word heat, and I couldn't work out. It took me ages to work out whether or not heat was a good thing or a bad thing. Like, I needed to use context from the rest of what the fuck they were saying.
Hmm.
Turns out getting heat is a bad thing. This is the oldest I've ever felt saying that sentence out loud. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, so that aside, yeah. I don't know, man.
How'd you
I
go
don't
with
know.
all the abilities and stuff? Because I think that was when I talked about it, sort of my chief complaint, like being able to determine what the fuck anything did. Like what's going to cause me damage? What is I saw a post somewhere recently in like the last day or two talking about how they're looking into ways that um, they don't have to use the same looking types of abilities and just change the color on them, just like basic design stuff. It was strange. Anyway, so how'd you sort of come across that? What was your experience like?
Oh, I think it's a bit like testing seatbelts by strapping myself into a car and then ramming it into a fucking wall, because I have no idea. I still don't know half the time how, like, there's some purple chick who goes invisible
Yeah,
and fucking teleports around and stuff or whatever the fuck, or like can just fucking go wherever the fuck she wants. And while she's doing that, she's got extra armor and all this kind of shit. Like, she becomes impossible to kill. And if she kills anyone while she's doing it, it lasts longer or something. And uh meanwhile, I unlock the chick with a rocket launcher that doesn't kill anyone anymore because they nerfed it because everyone was complaining, because streamers complained about it. And so I get to pop my ult and fire a rocket that maybe kills one person, maybe,
hmm.
or I get to the inevitable death screen. Like, it doesn't kill that one person. And I get to the death screen and it's like 147 damage. I'm like, cool. Well, so they're on 3 guys, teammates. They're on 3. Uh, and meanwhile, this purple chick will fucking purple and then just walk out in front of 3 fucking people and shoot them all while all of us shoot into her and nothing seems to fucking happen. And I can't fucking tell. I still don't know what the fuck is supposed to happen. I've got no idea. Right? Like, I'm at a fucking loss. What are we supposed to do against that? Just run? Is that how that works? I don't know. Anyway, that's cool. I like that. That's real cool. And then I've worked out that don't run into the green smoke because that'll hurt me.
Hmm.
Don't walk into any firewall, including my teammates, because
Yeah.
that'll hurt me. Actually, if you see the fire guy on the map on your team, go to the other bomb site because he will definitely flash you. He will flash you literally every fucking time. What else? I had there was a guy, like, I was playing a game and one of the guys thought I spoke too much because at the start of the round we were attacking, and the first round in our initial round, everyone just went fucking anywhere. I had the bomb and I
Spike.
was alone going to A, sorry, the spike, and I was alone going to A, so I went back, noticed nobody came with me, and I went back over towards B, and they went through mid to go to A, and nobody told me any of this. And so I got killed and I dropped the spike over while planting at A. I killed 2 people, was planting at A, but they had successfully rotated and dodged my whole team rotating, or I don't know what the fuck they were doing. Anyway, so on the next time, I had the bomb and I'm like, guys, let's stick together. Let's all go to B. And this guy thought I spoke too much. He's like, "Oh, you speak too much. You sound like, do you know pestilence? I don't know. Some fucking Twitch guy.
Pestilence.
I don't know. All right, no, man. He's like, you sound just like him, but if he was a bogan. I'm like, cool, thanks. Uh, yeah, well, you fucking shit. I'm like, all right. Fair enough.
Just escalated very quickly.
Just sort of classic toxicity, I guess. Anyway, after I muted him, because you can mute people. You can't report them in game. You have to wait till after the game to report them, and then it doesn't work. But anyway, yeah, I couldn't report him, but I could mute him. So I muted him, and then he was like, "Oh, in the chat, type chat. Oh, did you mute me? Oh, what a fucking pussy. Blah 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 blah." So I just sort of ignored my chat. So now there's zero communication. I'm not doing any communication, which is cool. Obviously, a great idea in a sweaty as fuck team shooter. Anyway, he then spent the rest of the game. He was the grenade, like the grenade launcher guy,
Right.
with the fire grenade and the smokes. He could call down smokes.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And he would call in smokes anytime I was about to pick a corner. He would smoke me. He was smoking specifically me. And so that was cool. So he could do that from anywhere on the map. He was able to smoke me from anywhere on the map. He could be fucking ages away, but he would just smoke specifically me. And yeah, no, that was rad. That was fantastic. What I love about Valorant is that if you're playing Overwatch, right? And everyone else on your team is a fuckwit, or you get teamed up with me and Jung were playing the first game we played last night. We were attacking. I grabbed the bomb and we went one way, and right at the last second, all three of the other people went over to the other fucking bomb site.
Yeah.
It was pretty good. I'm just gonna call it bomb site. And yeah. So that was pretty great. And then so we got murdered. Because I think we just got outplayed. There was one player on the other team who was real fucking good, and the whole other team had this fucking extraordinary fucking coordination. They were fucking like slamming. It was real good. They were really good. Anyway, so we got fucking done, and one of the players on our team managed to get one of those. No, he must have just. Oh no, this must have been the second round. Second round, right? First round we just lost. Second round, he managed to get back onto the site. We managed to plant. He gets on the site. We die. Sorry, he gets on the site, and he's guarding the bomb, and he's got the shotgun. And the last player on their team walks in with his back to the guy and clears out everywhere except for where this guy is. And he's just like standing there watching him. And then he starts shooting, and he fires 4 fucking shotgun shots and misses all of them. And I think he was the best player of the 3. Like he had the most kills. He like finished after that game finished. He had the most kills of the rest of our team. So it was me and Jung, and then the rest of this team. And Shotgun Guy was the best player on our team apart from me and Jung. What's cool is that was in the second round of the game, and we were stuck playing through the next 13 rounds of that game because they obviously killed him. And me and Jung managed to get a couple of we eked out a couple of round wins, just real fucking real janky shit. It required one of us to get a 4K generally because we would be on each other, and so one of us would do a fuck ton of damage to as many people as we could, and then the other one would get the finished frag, and we'd get on site. And then the fucking clusterfuck of dipshits would fucking roll in behind us and do whatever the fuck it was they were doing. Yeah, we just had to play another fucking. I think it went for 17 rounds. We just had to play that out. That's cool. You just have to fucking wait that out. That's Valorant. In Overwatch, You just fucking I don't know, you pick the fucking hamster ball or the giant monkey, and you just fucking goof about, right? You'd be like, okay, well, this game is obviously not going anywhere. So I'm just gonna I'm gonna test out this new fucking hero, or I'm gonna test out this whatever. In Valorant, you're just sort of trapped. And everyone loves to be trapped. So yeah, you just sort of fucking have to wait it out until the nightmare ends.
Hmm.
And that's Valorant. You just as soon as you work out, like, obviously, I think they're gonna have like some sort of skill-based matchmaking system in place. So hopefully you'll get dumped with people who are as good as you.
Yeah, they're talking about a ranked
I,
mode or something like that,
yeah.
but it's not there.
But it's
But
not.
they released a competitive shooter without a ranked mode.
Yeah. Right. Uh. Okay. So what's the point of playing them? Why am I playing fucking? I had one game go for fucking 22 rounds. I think it was. Like that took 70 fucking minutes. I think it was. It was fucking bananas. 70 minutes. Oh, and by the way, uh how like what is it? 20 seconds like for the buy phase? I don't I don't know. I don't think unranked needs 20 seconds for the buy phase or 35 or whatever the fuck it is in the initial buy phase. The first buy phase of every half is fucking super long. And I took to spending that first fucking buy phase talking about how long the buy phase was because what else would what the fuck else was I going to do?
You got a drone. Did you
So
use your drones?
I forgot to drone it out. That's what I should have been doing. No, I just like what the fuck are they doing? Right? Like why is it that long? What ranked? I guess I get it, right? Because it's a buy phase. But holy shit, I do not. I like, and the pulsing of the barrier, the spawn barrier, that it's not in time with the seconds. It doesn't happen once every second. So I just stand there watching it pulse and then watching the clock and watching how out of sync they are and going slowly fucking crazy. Anyway, yeah. I don't like the fucking I don't like that you've got full silent footsteps when you walk. I do not like that. I think the map design is such that there are too many fucking too many COD corners is what I call them. Those corners where you've got to clear out one side and then 180 to clear out the other side because otherwise you're going to get fucking like murdered.
Yeah, like angles,
Uh,
watching like 3 different angles when you come around
and
a corner.
they are like full fucking 180 degree turns, right? Like you've got the bomb site entry points are out of control, and like I think in Overwatch you can like the way operators work in Overwatch. Can you? I can't remember. I don't know. The last time I played Overwatch, you could always just change hero, right? You've got role lock now, right? In
Yeah,
Overwatch. So you're stuck as a tank if you like shoot as a tank. But
yeah,
you can always like change from fucking Reinhardt to Winston if your team needs someone to a
sure.
giant monkey to jump over and drop a fucking dome or something, right? But if your team didn't pick any fucking like anyone with smoke, then good luck getting in on sites,
Hmm.
right? I guess it's similar to Rainbow in that if you didn't pick any fucking hard bridges, you kind of cooked.
Right, but that resets every round.
Yeah, exactly. Right? So you can always get away from that. But no, in this you're stuck for 70 minutes with no way to get in on site except to all bust in at the exact sorry
Yeah.
if you heard all that fucking clattering.
It's not like, oh, this strategy's not working, let's try something else. You can't do that. You've got uh, whatever it is, 30, 20 fucking rounds playing with the same characters, trying the same strategies. There's no room
Yeah.
to, and I think that's going to become a problem with even with metas again. because you like if they want to go competitive and try and hit the esports community, then there's no room for trialing something different because everybody's going to find the thing that works and everyone's going to run the same combinations and it's going to become stale. It'll be like even Overwatch has the bit where you can change your characters mid match, right? But you jump on one map and it's like this is the 5 characters you pick or 6. I don't know how many players are in Overwatch.
6.
But it's like this is the meta. This is what you play. There's no room for trying anything, and I think that's sort of something they've locked themselves into.
Yeah, like it's very early to make that sort of call, but I 100% agree. Like, I like at the very least, it's a situation where there are characters that 100% have to be picked. Like 100% have to be picked. And I think we spoke about our like the characters that we would always pick in Rainbow Six. Like 100% I want to have on a team. And so if nobody else has picked it, I will always back in the day would always bring a thermite. But personally now I'd always bring a Habana, maybe an ace. Ace does sort of fill that fucking hole.
Yeah.
But like I would always if my team doesn't have a hard breacher, I will always bring a hard breach. Unless I'm full blown goofing it up as Amaru in fucking quick matches, I'll always bring a hard breacher. I happily play that role, right? Sage, I think her name is. Uh in Valorant.
Valorant. Yeah.
Is she the one that fucking heals cunts?
One of them heals and revives dead players, I believe.
Yeah, yeah. Right? Like, I think yeah, yeah. She has to be on any team. Like, if your team doesn't have one, your team is at a significant disadvantage. Like that's already begun, right? I heard people complaining that our team wasn't going to have a Sage yesterday. I insta picked Raze because she was the only person I had unlocked at the time, and people were like, "Oh, so we're not going to have a Sage." This person who was complaining hadn't locked in a character, by the way, which I think is pretty classic. For that sort of situation, you know, so we're just not going to have a Sage. Well, I'm not going to do it. Okay, why don't you like do some fucking self-reflection and work out why you wouldn't do it, and then apply that to everyone else? Right, fair enough. So that's why we don't have a Sage
In your game that has
because
been out for
the
10
game's been
hours.
out for 2 days, and people want to play the new characters that they unlocked. Interesting in unranked garbage mode. But yeah, like competitive games will always have a Sage, as far as I like, in my opinion, because what she brings to the fucking table is out of fucking control. And then like I think we'll see a lot of similar stuff from other characters, as like the Rainer chick is the one that like basically becomes fucking invincible or some shit.
Hmm.
Oh, okay. So I'm looking at it now. Raina, the purple chick. Uh, Enemies killed by Raina leave behind solar orbs, instantly consume a solar orb, rapidly healing. So she didn't have armor. She was just healing through everything we fucking did. And she becomes intangible and invisible. If like once she uses her ultimate, she's not she can't be shot and she can't be fucking seen. Right. And she can blind people. Like, that's fucking ridiculous. And meanwhile, fucking my chick has a rocket that fucks her up all the time.
Yeah. And you're getting
Anyway.
flashed by a teammate.
Yeah. Or smoked out. Like, anyway. I think, like, Valorant would be a better game if it didn't have abilities. I think Valorant would have a fucking
But then it'd
hope.
be Counter-Strike.
Yeah. Fuck it. Why not? Why does it have to be some weird fucking like mix between Counter-Strike and Overwatch? Why not just fucking, if Valve aren't making Counter-Strike, just fucking make Counter-Strike. Right? Like, if you feel there is a hole to be filled, it doesn't need to be like fucking I don't know. I just stopped myself from using a food analogy because I know people don't love them. But like shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't
Like
played
just
it. So I stopped. I
yeah.
stopped a while back.
They the one thing I do like is Spike Rush, and I wish Spike Rush was about twice as long. Right? If Spike Rush was twice as long, I would actually probably play
What's Spike
quite
Rush?
a bit of Valorant. So they mustn't have had this while you were playing, but it's this mode where you start each round with random weapons. There's no economy, which I think in particular to me, like underlines how underbaked the fucking economy in Valorant is. But yeah, there's no economy in Spike Rush. It's 3 aside. It's first to 4. So you everyone on the attacking side has a spike. And you just go fucking do it. Everyone has the same weapon. There are
Right.
more ultimate orbs spread across the map. And the ultimate orbs do different things as well. Like they provide different abilities. One ultimate orb gives you all of your ultimate immediately. Another one gives you a better weapon, like upgrades your weapon. There's one that does something called like, I don't know, toxic mist or some shit. Crippling vapor or something. I don't fucking know. Does something. I've never worked out what it does. I think it just hurts you over time. And yeah, basically you you play the regular game, but it's way faster, like way faster. It seems like round times might be shorter as well, but basically, yeah, you just go out. Everyone's got the same weapon unless they get to one of those upgrade orbs, and you just see what you can do. The stakes are a lot lower, so everyone's like less of a fuckwit. Uh, People aren't fucking getting shitty with each other because they don't have to spend the next fucking 60 minutes with these cunts. Like they're just fucking having fun.
Hmm.
It's a bit of a dog when you get fucking the gun everyone has is the double barrel shotgun piece of shit.
Right.
But other than that, yeah, like you just go out and see what happens. The biggest problem with it is that you can't press B. I had the semi clever idea. I unlocked a second character, and I unlocked the dude with a camera, uh, Cipher. I unlocked Cipher. He's not great. Uh, he's not great on fucking like I guess Spike Rush, but he is like amazing on the regular mode. Um, yeah, he puts a camera on the wall. He puts a smoke down that isn't a smoke. It's some sort of, I don't know, electric smoke. I don't fucking know. He puts these trip mines down, which are fucking amazing. Jung used it. Like Jung took in both games yesterday, and I feel like Jung wasn't using them very well. I'm gonna put Junglist on blast here. I don't think Junglist was using Cypher very well. Junglist is, a Counter Strike old school guy, and I feel like he meant he was ignoring his abilities. But what I do when I have to play a Cypher because someone's taken Rays before me, and they've also taken um fucking grenade launcher guy, is I go and I put my traps down
Hmm.
uh, all around the map. Like I do it at the fucking start, right? Like I will start off a map. Uh, I'll go to B site and I'll put my camera up on the wall, angle it so that I've got like passive fucking information immediately, because the camera is only active when you use it, but it provides line of sight at any old fucking time. So yeah, I'll put the camera up on the wall and I put fucking little traps down.
Yeah.
and then I'll fuck off to the other fucking site. And as soon as I see any action, I'll just fucking rotate back, and it works fucking really well. I would like I'd love to see my stats. I reckon I have won 90% of my fucking spike rush games. And I've been like MVP in most of them. And I would say I have won 10% of my regular games, and I have been tilted in all of them. Like I just lose my shit, man.
Yeah.
The one actually, I did have one really good game of regular Valorant, and it was really weird. Everyone sort of came together. Like we had a middling defense start. I think we were even Stevens by the time by the half. And then we went on attack, and nobody's like everyone was sort of fucking doing whatever. And we dropped to I think it was like 9-6. And like so they were up 9. We were down at 6. And yeah, like fucking we're just like doing whatever. And we made another run that just didn't work. And I'm like, guys, we're gonna fucking stick together. And in the typed chat came like came up, well, where do you want us to go? And so I just fucking started like leading. I just started like in-game leading this team. And they did what I said. We lost one more round when I tried some goofy shit. But we won every other fucking round. And it went really fucking well. And that felt pretty cool. Like I could see enjoying Valorant, but like I could also like all I got out of that, right, was that I don't know, I like being in charge of shit. I guess I'm just a bossy cunt. But no, what I got out of that was the same as what I would have gotten out of fucking playing Counter-Strike, right? Like it's not like what happened was unique to Valorant.
Mm-hmm.
It was just the satisfaction of a team coming together and doing their fucking playing their roles correctly and doing stuff right. And that like whether that's in Valorant or Counter-Strike or Rainbow Six, like that can happen in any of those locations. The only difference is in Valorant, it takes 70, like if it's not gonna happen, you're stuck with them for 70 fucking more minutes. And in Rainbow Six, it at least it's over in fucking 25. You know,
Right.
like that's the thing. That's the big deal in my opinion. Like the stakes are dramatically different. In Valorant, the stakes are extremely high, and I think it leads to a significant amount of toxicity. Uh, and that's saying something because Rainbow Six gets pretty fucking toxic sometimes, but I still feel like I was deliberately dicked on more in Valorant in the fucking 2 days that I played it than like I generally am in Rainbow Six. Like, yeah, it's yeah, I don't know. Oh yeah, like I said, I uninstalled it. I think like I just don't see who it's for, honestly. I didn't really go into the silent stepping thing, but it rewards corner camping too much, and I just don't like that. Um, it yeah, like the move sets of the operators, they don't seem terribly well thought out. Like they're fairly indistinct. A lot of them look pretty fucking similar.
Just different
Uh,
colors or
yeah, like vague, like slightly
yeah.
different colors, or like, and so it's like that doesn't really help. And
You just
then
don't know how they even as a player playing them, you don't know how they work properly. I remember playing as Viper. She's the chick that throws down the does a lot of poison moves.
green thing,
Yeah.
yeah, yep,
She's got one, it's called Toxic Screen, and she's able to put like a line of gadgets down, and then you can leave that area and activate the ability, and you've got like a meter that starts off at like 100%, and whenever you use this toxic screen to enable it, it slowly drains the meter, but it stops people from going through this screen or get damaged.
Right.
But the thing is, when you put this gadget down, as a player, I don't know if my crosshair where I'm aiming is where it's going to land, or like, is it going to go from me outwards, or is it going from where my crosshair is towards me? And then how far is that line supposed to be? And so I found myself getting to a doorway and being like, I don't know where I'm supposed to aim. Like, do I aim in the middle, or do I aim at my feet? Do I aim at the end? And so I'd end up putting it down somewhere, and it wouldn't block the entire doorway. Like, you'd have a smidging where it's like someone could squeeze through. Just like basic stuff like that, where giving the player more information on like how you're supposed to deploy these abilities, right? Or like what they're supposed to do. And it's not like I can pick it up and then redeploy it. And then like, oh, I don't know, can they be destroyed? I've like, if I shoot at them, nothing seemed to happen. Maybe it's changed since then, but it's just like giving players information on how this stuff works just seems to be something they haven't thought about as much. They just it just seems like it's really been quickly pushed out there.
Yeah.
I remember when it first launched, they first launched the chain, I was talking to you about like, I don't like the look of the abilities, and you're like, no, that'll change in early alpha. But that's how the abilities look now. They all look the same.
Yeah.
They're just different colors.
Oh, 100%. I was thinking they had to change, because they're obviously going to make this an esport, right? Like, they're going to force this an esport like it's fucking Overwatch type shit. Like, they're going in, right? And people are going to fucking support it because, I don't know, Riot has a halfway decent track record with esports and stuff.
And a very dedicated fan base.
Yes. But holy shit, man. I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna make this look good. Like, it's gonna look like
comprehensible, like looking at it on a screen and getting someone that doesn't know anything about it. And
like, I'm just trying to imagine a game of Counter-Strike, that typical Counter-Strike view that they do, the top-down view when they're trying to get all of a bomb site in. Trying to imagine that with like a fucking green stripe going one way and some fucking fire stripe curving off in fucking another direction or something, and like fucking there's a eye, and you're trying to convey that everyone who's looking at the eye is fucking blind or something, and there are purple fucking smoke domes and grey ones and blue grey ones, and there's a green one, and fucking boop, 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 like fucking everywhere. And it's like,
yeah, it's like a Skittles. There you go. There's your, there's your food.
Skittles.
It's like a plate of Skittles.
A plate of Skittles. Meanwhile, Counter-Strike is spaghetti. And you get those Skittles and you dump them into spaghetti. Anyway, yeah. If you're having fun with it, like, more power to you. I'd just love to know what you're getting out of it that you can't get out of Rainbow Six or Counter-Strike, you know? Like, I just don't see it personally. Do you know what? If you're playing with a full team, this is something Junglist was saying. Junglist was like, this wouldn't be a problem if we had a full team. And yeah, but then I'd have to have a full team. Like, that's the thing, right? If the only way I'm going to have fun in this game is getting a full team together, then it's pretty pointless, right? Like, okay, well, two of us online, so let's go play Warzone duos, or duos in trios, or there's three of us, let's go play trios. Oh, there's four of us. Let's go play quads. Oh, there's five of us. Oh, we've got a Valorant team. Let's switch games.
Yeah.
And shooting models and entire fucking headspaces, and we'll go play Valorant, I guess. Like,
yeah,
it just doesn't. It doesn't really work.
Or you play the standard 5 versus 5, right? And you come up to those issues I talked about when I first played if you're not in a stack and you get players that aren't 100% committed, you get 40 minutes into this game and then they just bail and they leave, and then all of a sudden it's now 4 versus 5, and then someone else bails and it's 3 versus 5, and you're like, well, I've just wasted 45 minutes of this game basically. Cool, thank you.
Yeah. I've had multiple games. We had one game where fucking there's only 2 of us left, and we like fucking at the end of every round, like, because I had to all chat to tell them that they're AFK in our base.
Right, yeah.
When they first went AFK, they just get deleted afterwards. But like as soon as it was down to 2, every time they would, like, we still won rounds, which was amazing. But we were getting extra econ, and you get like an ultimate orb wherever they were going to spawn. So you get like 3 extra ultimate orbs.
All right, okay, yeah, that's smart. Yeah.
But yeah, like by the end of the game, the other team was like teabagging. They were like teabagging and like fucking just being mad dickheads on us. Like meanwhile in Rainbow Six, when I've been the last person alive, like the other team will be like, "Oh, we're gonna use knives only," and stuff like that. Like they'll be like, "Oh, we're going knives only. We'll see you in the fucking kitchen." And and then you go into the kitchen and they'll like knife you one at a time, and like they're still heinously lopsided, but at least they're still having fun, and I'm still having fun, and we're just having a goof. But these guys are like still going 100% sweaty, and like we're still winning rounds on them, which I think is why they started teabagging, because we still managed to fucking like get a couple of rounds off them. Like I think they were fucking embarrassed. And yeah, they're still going 100% sweaty. They're doing their fucking best. The worst part was like we were fucking way up as well. We were so far up on this fucking other team. Anyway. And yeah, players just started leaving.
Yeah.
And like we just had to fucking cool. I guess this is just this is us for the next 60 minutes. We could have just fucking left, I guess, but then we get a leaver penalty and we wouldn't get any XP for that fucking round, and like they've just trapped you, right? Like it's fucking dumb. Anyway.
Yep.
Anyway.
All right. That's Valorant. Let us know what you think.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm probably done with it as well. If no one else is playing it, looks like none of our crew is going to be playing this one. So
no,
and I don't know how well that'd work with 200 ping, 250 ping, whatever. Maybe not as good.
Yeah, it might not even let you in.
Yeah. All right, should we move on? We've got a lot.
Yep.
A lot here. I might just quickly talk about Maneater, which you played last week. You talked about it. I ended up picking up a copy on the cheap through the Epic Game Store, who are still doing their mega sale, I think they're calling it. So you can pick up games and they give you a coupon and you get a bit of a discount. It doesn't matter how many times you buy a game, it just kind of takes $10, $15 off every time you buy one. So yeah, I thought I'd check out Maneater. I didn't have much else to play, and yeah, I had fun with it. One of the two of the complaints you had last week was something that we talked about in the patch notes, which was camera issues with the first 2 sort of sharks. You play as a shark in this game. It's a shark PG, shark RPG, something like that.
Yep.
And you start off as like a baby shark, and you start growing up, and you had issues with the camera on the first 2 stages of that being shark in the swamp area, right? In patch notes said they made changes to that. I didn't have any issues navigating that area.
Right.
I think you said you were having problems where the camera kept going like above the water,
Yep.
and you couldn't like see below it. I never had that issue at all. So I think they ended up fixing that in that day zero patch, whatever it was. So that was all fine. What was the other problem you had that I think I fixed? I can't even remember anymore. But I think there was two that we talked about last week that they seemed to have addressed. Oh, the one where you could sort of look at enemy predator or hunters and get sort of a gauge of what their boundaries were. So like you could go and attack
Yeah.
them and sort of kite them out. I don't think I saw that as much. They seemed to chase me, but I would be quick enough where I could eventually just get away from them. So maybe they changed that as well. But anyway, I didn't have any issues with that. Otherwise, like it's for what it is, I think it's a pretty fun game. I think it's maybe a tad too expensive for what they're sort of charging for, because it's nearly a full price game. It's maybe $10 to $20 shy of a full price game. So I think the like $30 US, $50 Australian sort of mark, $40 Australian mark, it would be a good spot for where this is. Because like some of the core gameplay loops are pretty fun. And I was quite surprised at how much fun I was having. Like it is very repetitive. It's got that like Assassin's Creed vibe where you do one thing and you go to the next area and it's kind of like the same sort of 5 or 6 things that you're doing over and over again. It's just in a new area. They don't really introduce any new mechanics as you progress further and further into these new biomes. But the ones they had in there, I thought were really well done, and I was having some fun with that. It's it's not taking itself seriously at all. There's missions where you're like out of the water for a decent period chunk of time, trying to complete those missions. So like as a first attempt, I feel like it was a pretty good job that they did. I can see like areas where they could definitely improve. But for like a stupid dumb game, I was still enjoying myself, despite it sort of being super repetitive. Because I did play it for a couple of hours, and then I'd go do something else, and then when I had another couple of hours free, I'd jump in and do like 2 or 3 more areas, and then just sort of keep going that way. There's definitely some issues with like scalability. I feel like the difficulty spike from sort of like the beginning of the game in the swamp area, it feels a bit challenging there, but once I sort of got out to like the third area, it felt like I was way too overpowered. And maybe that's kind of how you want to feel in this game. Like I didn't struggle at all getting like doing anything from then on, up until the final moments of the game, where the one I think you were complaining about, of you sort of come up to this enemy and it's 10 levels higher than what you are, but you can't get any higher level.
30 levels.
Oh, is it?
Or no, 15. The Orca's 45. The Moby Dick is 60.
Right, yeah.
And
But I'm saying like once
40.
you get to that sort of end
Yeah.
area, like you're like, oh, I can't really do much here. And like it's just weird scaling in terms of what's going on there. But otherwise, like it sort of behaves like a really weird shark power fantasy thing where you're just destroying everything without any problems. And you're like jumping up in the land, chomping humans and all that sort of stuff. So yeah. Like I had fun with it. I definitely see that it's got a lot of problems, but I enjoyed what I was playing. And I think it's a really cool starting point for them for like a base game. Like it's got really good character in terms of like the environments, the storytelling that it does. Like it looks like each area you're going to has a distinct different feel for the most part. From the swampland you get into to later on when you're in a bit more open area in sort of like the beaches and that sort of thing. Like it all feels a little bit different. And then finding like the little caches and the road signs that sort of give you a bit more detail about this world. They throw a bit of humor in there. Like it feels like something that's it's been thought of, put some thought into it. So I enjoyed a bunch of that stuff. But yeah, I think it's a really good jumping off point. I just wish there was more like to it, like some variety in there, because I think the 4 or 5 things that it kind of has you do are fun at the start of the game, but then it just becomes really repetitive and stale by the end, and doesn't really do much in terms of difficulty because it just I feel like I'm just a walk in the park by that stage. It's like, all right, well, I guess I'm going to do these 3 quests at the same time because I may as well.
Yeah.
Like it gives you a list of things to progress story wise you need to do, and so I would get my apex level up really high, so I'd have humans hunting me while I'm doing a mission on the land. Like I could do like 3 things at once and just knock all them out, which just wasn't challenging at all. But yeah, I still enjoyed it. I think it's a um interesting start. Like it felt like it was taking risks, at least. Like we haven't seen anything like that before. And if surprisingly, I don't like underwater games. I would say my favorite underwater game is probably Subnautica off the top of my head. Um,
This yeah, I would say my favorite like platformer featuring plumbers is Mario. Like fucking yeah, it's the best. Of course, your favorite underwater game is the best underwater game. You fucking lunatic.
yeah,
How many other like? There's not that many other underwater games really.
no, I mean, then there's not a lot, but even when you look at just normal games where they're like, here's the water level, I'm like, this is going to be the worst part of the game because nobody likes
It's true.
fucking water levels. Um,
True.
I think they did a good job here. Like, the swimming feels really good. Um, like the shark movements, I think are really well done. Like the animations of it when you get up on a pier and this giant shark is like flopping around looks really well done. So yeah, I'm curious to see if they decide to make a sequel and like what that sequel looks like. Like, would they just go for the same thing again, or would they try and build on it and add some more features and tighten it up a bit? Because like I'd be interested to see that. But if they just spewed out the same thing over and over again, I wouldn't care for it. But yeah, bit disappointed, but I still had fun with it for what it was. So that's Maneater.
Yeah. I mean, I think that sort of sums it up really. Bit disappointing, but had fun with it for what it was.
yeah.
Is yeah, is that game to a T. Yeah. All right.
What
Let's do
else we
The
want to
Last
go
of Us 2
right now?
right now because I can't say much. I
Okay.
can't say much at all. I think we will be able to talk about it in full for next week's podcast. Um, in full being spoiler free, obviously. But there, I don't know if you saw, but there were a bunch of previews that went out over the last week,
Mhm.
and yeah, they all talk about the same sequence, basically a longer sequence, but the same sequence that was showcased in that state of play video, the untouched 18 or so minutes that they showed.
The one last week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're all talking about the same thing. That's like as part of that's what we're allowed to preview
Hmm.
from The Last of Us 2. And so that's all we're allowed to speak about. And we're not like the fucking NDA. I don't even know if I'm allowed to speak in depth about the NDA, but like it's fucking it goes in on what it's like when when Ellie says blank until Ellie says blah and nothing outside of that. And it's like this like this is what you're allowed to speak about. This blah 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 blah. You can't speak about this, can't speak about this, nothing from before this, nothing from after, blah 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 blah. Anyway, um seeing how you can watch that portion yourself, I figured I'd keep it pretty broad and pretty quick. But I've been playing it, and apart from the fact that I feel like they're doing, I'm gonna check out. I might try some fucking like aim assist options, but like leaving it on default settings. I feel like it's got that traditional Naughty Dog shooting. that I've never really liked. That I find really like they've got this uh aim acceleration that I've never really been able to get used to. So I'm gonna try out, see if some auto aim or aim assist or whatever will help rectify that situation. But it has made thus far, in the portion that I might speak about, shooting significantly more challenging. But otherwise, yeah, like people are gonna be fucking blown away by this game. People who are hanging out for it are, uh, from what I've played, and what I'm allowed to speak about, going to be very happy with what they're putting together because it is one of the. I think I've been pretty upfront. I wasn't like a giant fan of The Last of Us One, mostly because I'm old Jobo gameplay first, narrative second, unless they are beautifully intertwined. And I didn't think The Last of Us. I thought the gameplay in The Last of Us was a bit um, repetitive, I guess, and immersion breaking.
Mhm.
And so I think it took away a little from the narrative, in my opinion. But it feels like they've. I mean, you can see it. Just go watch that 18-minute uncut thing. You can see how much they've improved the gameplay elements of this game.
How
And
how different was your playthrough from what they showed to what you experienced?
uh, I actually think that because I'd seen them do it,
You
I
did it the same
um
way.
I followed the same fucking I'm like, well, that works. Because like it's still a game about scavenging and fucking they're actually they I think that I'm pretty sure they missed a couple of things. Uh li- it's a game about scavenging and looking for everything. And like because you can use everything that you find, you're very heavily incentivized to try to find everything you can. And so yeah, I think that they definitely missed a couple of things, but most of the time I'm like, oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, I probably would have. I think I probably would have followed a pretty similar path anyway.
Mm.
But yeah, I did. There's that one bit where uh, they get jumped, that I was very well prepared for, at the very least. Which I guess is why you don't want anything spoiled in games like this. But yeah, it's worth hanging out for, I think. Um, yeah, I
Are
think.
you allowed to
Um,
say like how far into the game that demo was that they showed? No,
oh, I don't
probably
know.
not. That's all right.
Maybe not. Let me have a quick. I'll have a quick squiz. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, I think what'd be interesting to see like how much different like people can sort of play that one area. If you can go out and just do it like super stealthy and get to that part where like she shuts the door without people noticing, or like will it always be you trying to escape all these enemies as they're coming for you? Yeah.
I get the feeling. Well, the reason I didn't go full stealth is I kind of want to kill everyone I can,
Mm.
except in the situations where you absolutely have to run. Like there are, uh, yeah, I kind of want to kill everyone I can. And yeah, yeah,
Yeah, fair enough.
uh,
So next week, you're saying we can talk about it more.
yes,
Cool.
yes. I'm so worried about how that embargo works. Like it is so yeah, there's so much there's so much written about it. I'm so worried that I've missed something.
That's right.
Something.
No one listens to this anyway.
That's it. But yeah, anyway. Let's move on.
Okay. BioShock. I've been played through BioShock Infinite this week because why not? I'm still like replaying through games I've liked in the past, so I blasted through this one in like 2 sessions, I think, 2 sittings. So it's not a super long game. It's like 12 hours or something like that. When did that come out? Was it 2013? I'm just checking. Yeah, 2013, March 2013. So it's been like 7 years, over 7 years since that was released. It surprised me, I guess, in terms of some of the things that game does, like the combat and maneuverability with the sky rails is still something that I haven't really. I don't think we've seen other games come maybe as close to that in a first-person shooter, at least maybe like Titanfall, in terms of like the movement and how fast things are. But what makes it interesting is that you have these fairly large areas you can zip around in, and go from like one place to the other quite quickly. And it just feels unlike anything that we sort of see these days in terms of its movement. And then on top of that, just remembering the AI sort of companion with Elizabeth and the way that she's able to help you as a character. Stuff that I didn't remember her doing. And I don't know if that was patched in or I just do not remember it, but like pointing out enemies and marking enemies for you, being like, there's a sniper up here, or this is where a rocket character is, or there's a handyman, blah, blah, blah. So stuff like that. And then obviously the things she would do like during the fights, which I still find really interesting, is the, hey, here's ammo, or here's a weapon, or here's your salts to get your replenish your abilities. I like at no stage during any of these fights did I feel like I'm out of ammo or like I need to go scavenge for stuff. It was always whenever I felt like, man, I'm running pretty low, she would be like, hey, do you want some ammo? I'd be like, yes, please. And then all of a sudden I'd have another, 40 bullets ready to go. And it'd like last me through that fight. Just really well done. Like there's a couple of times where she's like, I don't have anything. And you're like, damn it. All right, time to switch weapons or try something else. But just sort of the balance that they got was really well done. I never felt like I was struggling or had too much ammo. It was just really, really fine balance. So that stuff is really well done. I think there's some stuff in there they could have tightened up a little bit in terms of there's a point where you get into like a hub area. It's pretty linear for the most part, that game. You can definitely go do side missions and a bit of exploration, but there's not really a way where you can sort of go off track and be like a little bit lost until you get to sort of the last quarter of the game and you're in this quite large hub. And it's the part where you're looking for Lady Comstock and she's like a ghost, right? And that particular area opens up quite a bit. Like it's a giant area and you are navigating that for the most part being like, hey, go from point A to point B. But you can then start exploring and get into areas you're not really supposed to be in yet, and that can become a problem. Like if you've played the entire game of being like going from point A to point B, and then you get to this giant part, and you're like, all right, well, I'm going to go do some walking, and you don't really find much is happening there. Like you can go and explore, and you'll get to a dead end, and like, okay, there's nothing much here. So you go back, and then later on, you end up coming back there because the actual game is like telling you need to go to this spot. So I think there's a bit of there could have been some better like signposting in terms of where you should be going, and don't really explore that area as much as you should. And I don't know if that's a part of me just wanting to 100% it or like go and look at areas that I haven't been before, or if it was just the game maybe shouldn't have been so linear and then thrown you into a giant area and been like, you can explore this, but you probably shouldn't because
Yeah.
we don't really need you to. So that could have been tightened up a little bit. But for the most part, yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. That the story in that game is really good, and I would be very interested to see like what they do next because we know they're making another BioShock game. Like, do they play it safe? And they is it a BioShock Rapture sequel? Is it a Columbia sequel, or is it a prequel to one of those two, or is it something completely different? Is it a new BioShock idea?
I think it's got to be. I think we could go back to Rapture.
Yeah, I think that's the safe bet, right? For them,
Yep.
is to go back
Yep.
to Rapture, and maybe you're playing before the downfall or something like that of Rapture. Or I don't know, maybe you come back at some after all the events of one. But I would definitely like to see them go do something else. I think that'd be more interesting. But I think it'd be more interesting, but in terms of them playing the safe bet, they would probably do Rapture.
Yeah. It's pretty tricky because the driving force behind it isn't there anymore as well. So
yeah, the main. I mean, we don't know who's working like as the lead writer or anything like that yet, as far as I know. But anyway, we'll see how that goes. I had a lot of fun with that. Obviously, the BioShock collection just got released somewhere as well on Nintendo, I think, so people can play it on Nintendo Switch if they want to. But I played it on PC. Some still underlying issues with like not being able to play that game at high resolutions because I played it at 1440p, and there's moments in that game where you get like new abilities or new things you can sort of do in the world, and it'll run like a tutorial on the screen. It's like this old timey, quick 15-second movie clip, and that doesn't get scaled. So if you're playing at 1440p, it's this tiny box in the middle of the screen. I don't know what it looks like in 4K, but it's probably you probably can't see anything because the box was so small. Same goes for the menus system as well. If you open up the menu, it's in the same sort of box. It's maybe, I don't know, it's less than a quarter of my screen. So like just in the middle, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I got pretty good eyesight, and even the text as well, man. Like the your HUD is extremely small, just boosting that up. So hopefully they, I wish they would have patched that or done something a bit better. But otherwise, it still plays well, still looks great. It's a very good game. So it's BioShock. I'm sort of working my way back through this generation's top games at this stage. It's nuts.
yeah, and sticking with 2K for some reason. Why are all the 2K games? Red Dead, BioShock.
Huh? Oh, Red Dead I've been playing for a while. Start of the year.
The world wants to know.
Yeah, Take-Two games.
Yep.
No, I think the next one's on my list, which I started God of War, and then I'm thinking Spider-Man as well after that.
Why? It's gonna come out on PS5. Wait for it to come out on PS5.
Spider-Man 2.
You don't want to have to play it again on PS5. Yeah. Are you gonna do Spider-Man 1 on PS5 so you can see the power, witness the power? Yeah.
All right, we'll see.
We will.
Monster Train, just quickly. Still playing Monster Train. I won a game before we started recording. Blue purple deck. So wax and what are the colors? It was wax and reform. Maybe reform is the, I don't know.
Reform is wax.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, those two colors. Let's play with them. Basically, you just like stick in a lot of units at the front, and on the back line you have like every time someone dies, +1, +3, and yeah,
Oh
it
yeah.
just gets super beefy. So doing a lot of that, but haven't played too much in terms of like the covenant system. I was kind of just working my way through each deck, like all the different colors, to
Right.
get a grasp on if I can win a game.
Yeah.
So yeah, still enjoying that, and it made me play one game of Underlords, Dota Underlords. Just quickly, I
Ah, yeah.
jumped in and played some knockout for a couple of
Yeah.
rounds, and yeah, that was fun. I just the thing with Underlords is they've changed their 3-star system. Like some heroes, or maybe all heroes, get like extra abilities now as well. And so I
Right.
was like, oh
Okay.
shit, I've got to get a read up on all this. But yeah, I was playing them,
Cool.
looking for quick card games that I could jump in and play while I'm listening to podcasts. Maneater was a podcast game where I could listen to a
Oh,
podcast and just
chomp.
chomp fish. So
Yep.
yeah. Anyway, Monster Train. I think the rest are yours. Oh no, we got Warzone still.
Yeah.
Do you want to do these
You
three?
want to do Warzone? Let's do these 3. Betrayal Legacy. I finished Betrayal Legacy on the weekend.
Yep.
Finished the campaign. So now I'm looking for a new board game to play that is sort of along the same lines. So if anyone has any suggestions, I'll happily take them. I'm going to look into acquiring a copy of that detective game that you were talking about a
Right.
little while ago,
Yeah.
because it feels like it would probably work for that group. And yeah, you seem pretty positive on it. So I'll give that a squiz. That's my first port of call. Someone said Minions, Max vs Minions, which is the League of Legends game, has a co-op campaign and is quite good. So I might check that out as well. Any other ideas? I'm well open to checking it out. My dream is another legacy game. Is a campaign game that has a story driven campaign, a la Betrayal Legacy,
Have you checked out like
and
Board
the
Game
first,
Geek? See what the
of
top
course,
rated.
of course,
Yeah.
of course, but not it hasn't been all that helpful, um, because I guess what they like in games, Board Game Geek is at the end of the day for board game geeks, and
Yeah. Hardcore.
yeah, super hardcore. So they would suggest their suggestion would be Gloomhaven, which fits the bill, except for the part where I don't want a game that kicks you in the fucking crotch as many times as it can. And Gloomhaven absolutely kicks you in the crotch as many times as it can. So maybe not Gloomhaven, but yeah, looking for something new. The end of like the wrap of the campaign. I don't know. There's a lot to love about Betrayal Legacy. I think it might be the best board game I've played. There are definitely some issues and there are some problems that I think could be rectified either via a very robust FAQ or a reprint.
Mm.
But yeah, like I don't know. Like if it was a video game, it would be patched and fixed. But that's not how board games work, unfortunately. Um, it's yeah, it just wound up being very good. I thought it was very clever. The way it worked out, you there's a betrayer in the final story mission, and the way it works it out is sort of probably should have been able to see it coming from fucking ages ago. And then when it happens, you're like, yeah, fair enough, that makes sense. I very narrowly dodged being the betrayer myself, and upon reflection, I should have seen it coming. Honestly, um, yeah, there's a bit of luck. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a dice based game, so there's luck involved, and a few unlucky rolls meant that I thought we were destined to lose, and then one or two very lucky rolls one after another, saw us able to inevitably win against the odds. We just barely, like, we were literally one turn away from losing, like, ultimate loss. Um, it's rough. Like, the end of that game is fucking tough.
Hmm.
And if it's a, I don't think you're supposed to win necessarily, um, because it is a horror game. But it was nice that, like, I'm glad we did. And now, yeah, the board works as a copy of Betrayal at House on Haunted Hill or whatever the fuck it's called, for us for the rest of time, basically. We can play Betrayal whenever we want. It's got all these, like, other haunts, and it tells you how to play them and all this kind of stuff.
Yep.
We've got, like, because we won, we've got a couple of better cards in the deck than we would have otherwise. There are a bunch of change mechanics and all this kind of stuff. The amount of stuff you've got to destroy when it ends is crazy. But it sort of creates this sense of finality that I really enjoyed. And yeah, at the end of the day, yeah, Betrayal Legacy, probably the best board game I've ever played. And then there is also on the list Simpsons Codenames, which is Codenames. You put 25 cards down, one person has to, like, guide the other person to the right cards. But it's with Simpsons Simpsons, like, I don't know, pictures from The Simpsons. And holy fuck, it's difficult. It is so fucking difficult. I get the feeling we were playing hard mode. We were like, you can't say anything that's in the fucking picture because that's obviously cheating. We've never played picture code names before. Apparently, you're allowed to say what's in the picture in picture code names.
Right.
Get the fuck out of here. Not playing that way. So instead, like, we're going, like, I had, like, 2 pictures of Ralphie, Ralph Wiggum, and I'm like, you're only allowed to say one word. So I'm like, sweetheart, like, Ralphie, get off the stage, sweetheart. I figured that'd probably drive him in the right direction. Because I couldn't say, my cat's breath smells like cat food, or like a lot of Ralphie references are pretty much fucking, multiple words, phrases. I'd say phrases. You just allowed one word. So yeah, I thought sweetheart would work. It didn't. It absolutely didn't. So that cooked me. I had one with what's her name? Ralph's mum. Sarah Wiggum. So one with her, and there was and Manjula, Nahasapima Pedalon, and so I'm like, pop and fresh, right? Because I'm like, when basically just doing Simpsons references, and all of these references were lost on everyone except for my wife. So yeah, it's a fucking tough game. So yeah, I don't know. Check that out if you love tough Simpsons games. I think it'd work okay. Do you remember playing Simpsons Seen It with Heath? And then you guys you and TJ, your wife banned Simpsons Seen It because me, Heath, and my wife fucking blitzed you cunts at it. It was
Maybe.
fucking hilarious. Hilarious. It was world class. It was some shit. The Simpsons were truly the shield of CNET games, because I was able to win with it whenever it was cracked out, and you lost hilariously. Anyway, it was like that. Anyway, that's it. That's the old Simpsons Codenames.
You didn't
And
bust out
finally,
the adult version? Wasn't there an adult version of Codenames that they made?
I don't have that. I've got two versions of Codenames, Simpsons and regular, and yeah, but they've got like they franchised that shit. They went fucking wide with it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. So next up, we got Wildfire. So I've been playing some more Wildfire. This game from Sneaky Bastards and our mate Dan. So like I hadn't played all that much of it last week. I hadn't gotten that far in. I was literally at the level before the game like super widens up and expands significantly and gives you a lot more powers and yeah, which was I guess a little bit weird. So yeah, I like last week quite a shallow fucking description of it because we just didn't know all that much about it or didn't know exactly how deep it went. Yeah, it super expands up. Um, and you start to get more powers. You can embrace water, you can embrace grass, and that really opens the like the way that you can approach different levels. You can like create vines to climb up on, or you can create bubbles to float in. You can throw water into people's faces to knock them out. Um, you can like create ice to walk across water as opposed to falling underneath it and use that to trap. Use it to trap fucking soldiers under the water and drown them like a fucking psychopath. Um, yeah, it really fucking it blows out significantly, and the levels get a lot bigger as well. And I've also like gotten to a point where I'm getting like a bit more experience with the game and like starting to get a bit of a better like I guess the idea of it being a stealth-based puzzle platformer. It is still that, but I guess early on in the game, the ways you can solve those puzzles are pretty rigid. But now there are a lot. Like the way you can solve puzzles is pretty fucking broad.
Hmm.
And I don't know, man. I feel like that in particular is a bit of a mistake because it feels like burying the lead. Like it feels like it takes, in my opinion, a little bit too long to get to the point where you see the proper potential. Like I enjoy the game as a fairly linear puzzle solving platformer, stealth-based puzzle platformer, or whatever the fuck we want to call it. I enjoyed it, but I wasn't really seeing. I thought it was very good. It just wasn't blowing me away. Now I'm starting to fucking. I'm being wowed by the I guess breadth of it. I think I can go back and take the powers that I've got. I haven't done it. I'm still playing through the campaign, but I think I can go back and take those powers and do earlier levels. And I'm very interested to see how that plays out once I've finished the main path. Like uh, how those levels stand up against the combination of meteorite shards I've got and the powers that I've got and the way that I combine those things to really, like see how hard I can break those levels. I think that's the power that Wildfire has. Is yeah, it was a interesting game. I thought it was perhaps a bit of a compromise of his initial vision. The early, like I think, yeah, the early portion of that game feels like a bit of a compromise of I guess the stated vision of Wildfire, and then when it expands out, uh, you get to really see it. I just think it spends too long. I think there is um, a lot of Wildfire that might have been tightened up with some robust playtesting. But obviously, being an indie game, it's hard to get playtesters on board. Even Kickstarter backers aren't obliged to send in beta feedback or anything like that.
Hmm.
And you'd be crazy if you listened to like the one or two Kickstarter backers who did send in, "Hey, I think you want to fucking drop a couple of levels from the start because you take too long to get to the fucking meat of the game." Um, you'd be crazy to listen to that unless they were literally me, the greatest games critic in the world, because obviously you would listen to me. But like, yeah, you can't be sure that everyone's gonna be as good as old Jobo. Um, what the fuck? Yeah, so I don't know. I just think it takes like you got to stick with the game being not what being like good. It's just not what it's supposed to be for a little while, and then it becomes what it's supposed to be, and you're like, oh, I get it now. That said, like, there's still some goose. There's like, I remember, I can't remember where I saw this, but I remember it might have been one of those like, it might be a Twitter thread, or it might be like Danny O'Dwyer, or uh, what's his video series
No
called? Whatever
clip.
the fuck it's called. No clip. It might be a no clip. It might be a GDC talk. I'm not sure where the fuck I saw this, but I remember seeing about um, like people talking about how they're uh, making concessions for impreciseness from players,
Hmm.
like where they land maybe one square off a ledge, like one pixel off. Instead of making them fall to their deaths, they make it so they live. So there's sort of like a wily coyote ledge
Hmm.
that is invisible that you can land on, but you can also plummet through. And the way that that interacts is different from the rest of the world. And but those sorts of things, like accounting for players' imprecision, is such a um, critical element in making a game feel good to play, as opposed to sometimes being absolutely precise isn't the best thing for your game. I wonder if Wildfire sometimes goes a little too far. Maybe some of those elements, like I don't know. I've been playing with a degree of preciseness that sometimes gets me fucked because of those measures, those like elements. Like I'm specifically thinking of one where I tried to jump, and like my aim was to land just short of a ledge, because if you land on the ground from a great height, you take fall damage.
Yeah.
But if you land and grab a ledge, you don't take fall damage. And I don't know if that's on purpose, if I'm exploiting some sort of quirk in the game's code. But I use it so much to get from high places. Um, and yeah, there was this one sequence where I kept I was certain. I was 100% certain I was landing in a way that would have me just short of the ledge, but I kept, for some reason, landing on the ledge and taking the damage, and it was driving me fucking nuts. So there's that, and then there's the fucking opposite, the direct opposite, where like the game will fucking is so punishing in resource management. Like, there's this one part where you got to get across like this fucking, I don't know, giant platform with spikes. Like this giant fucking platform with spikes. As far as I can tell, the only way to do it is to make like a, s- a vine bridge. So you put a vine on the roof, and you jump onto it, you put another vine a little bit further away, you go back and you get more vines. You can't swap vines for I can't get it to work. I don't know if you're supposed to be able to or if you're not, but there, I can't swap vines, so I just grab. But the thing is, there like I think there's something nearby where it's very possible for you to burn all that grass. And if you
Mm.
burn that grass, it cannot be used for vines. And if you it can't be used for vines, the only as far as I can tell, the only solution is to restart the level. And that happens a couple of times where your only solution is to restart the level because you've exhausted all the resources or the only available resources. It feels like there's a number of cases where like almost if you see five fucking bushes next to each other, like if I see five when I'm playing Wildfire now, if I see five bushes sitting next to each other, I start thinking, all right, what am I gonna fucking need to climb? Like, what's this? What am I gonna need to climb and then climb again? Because these bushes aren't hanging out next to each other for any other reason other than to like let me fucking climb some shit.
Yeah.
And like there's five of them because you need four to get over whatever the fuck it is you need to climb, and they've given you one to fuck it up and piss away. And I don't know. I feel like grass should regrow or some shit like over time. Uh because like snow returns over time. It's quite odd. But grass doesn't. And holy shit, man. Yeah. Pissing away all the grass on a level because I don't know, there are a lot of ways you can piss away grass, and the only way to fix it is to reload. And that feels hyper punishing. Especially when like the reason you pissed away your grass is there's this one level I actually spoke about it on Twitter, and they're going to fix it in the first patch of the game. Apparently, let me see if I can find it. I was speaking with Ken from the Pixelcast, the Player Two Pixelcast, and he was talking about he couldn't work out how to do Mountains 5, the statue mission. You have to get these crucibles to this platform, and then you have to light the crucibles on fire, right? And that will raise some platforms that will allow you to get across the other side of the statue. That is to say that's unclear is uh, selling it short. The crucibles are described as a secondary objective. You've got two objectives: get to the top of the mountain and put all the crucibles on the platforms. And I suppose what you could do is arguably you could get probably two. I think you'd need two minimum, two crucibles on the platform, and then raise that up, and you could probably get your way to the top of the mountain. But realistically, not knowing how to do it any other way, the only option is to get all five crucibles on the platform and then light them on fire. The only time you see a crucible on fire is to the right of the platform, and it's next to some water. And the easiest way to get it to the platform is to take it underwater.
Mm.
So you wind up in this situation where the first thing you do is extinguish a fire on a crucible, and then you put it on the platform, and nothing at all happens. And meanwhile, if it's on fire, something happens, and you can actually take something away from that. That level took me fucking forever. I worked it out purely by accident. I was throwing the crucible while it was on fire at the platform, and it bounced next to some like one of the other uh, crucibles, one of the other jars, and lit it on fire. Just sort of out of circumstance,
Right.
and that was enough to raise two platforms. But I could actually see one of the fucking platforms for once. Like, oh, they were all going to be on fire. Okay, that's it. Right. Little Wildfire was able to get through it, but I totally see why Ken couldn't fucking work it out. And yeah, Wildfire. I assume Dan replied that they're fixing this messaging in the first patch, and yeah, it was a very confusing one. There's definitely an air of fucking work it out. You can fucking work it out. Just fucking work it out. A little bit of like that level in particular is very like draw the rest of the fucking hour, like get to the top of the mountain, and you're like, I have no idea how to do that. And it's like, well, there's a level here. Fucking work it out. Yeah. Anyway. That said, like I was saying, once you get those extra powers, it really fucking expands and you start to feel the fucking power of the game. And yeah, my biggest criticism, apart from a little like this weird fucking swaying between too forgiving and not forgiving enough. Apart from that, is that it takes too long to get to that point. But once you get in there, you like it. It really fucking winds out. It's a really cool game.
Are you playing with mouse and keyboard or controllers?
Mouse and keyboard.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Anyway, Wildfire.
Cool.
Warzone.
I haven't played much other than the one night that we played on. Was it last Thursday or something?
Yeah,
something like that.
Yep. When you were sandbagging, I remember.
Where I proved to you
that
you can't win. That you can't
win.
win.
You were sandbagging.
I was sandbagging. I've got video proof.
Sandbagging.
It might even be in this last week's podcast.
How would it be in last week's podcast?
Because we recorded, and I usually render it later on. So I grabbed the footage. I might have put it in there. I can't remember. Or it could be in this week's.
Put it in this week's, motherfucker. Put it in
you sandbagged yourself.
Sandbag, motherfucker.
You backed yourself
how did I? Huh?
Into some barrels. You walked into some barrels. You even said afterwards, "Oh, I see what I did there."
Barrels. I don't remember barrels.
They're like I don't know. There's like barrels outside the door or something.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah. No, that's not the sandbagging. The sandbagging was you deliberately playing like shit so that you can prove that shields are bad. Like it was a whole fucking. It was a mentality. It was a fucking. It was a.
Even though I got the most kills.
Even like, of course you got the most kills. You stealing all the kills from us, motherfucker.
Okay.
Fucking this guy with his kill stealing, like absolute fucking stitch up. He steals all. He gets the last hits on motherfuckers because he's slow on the switch, and then he's like, "Oh yeah,"
and the most damage.
Sorry, you didn't get the most damage. There's no fucking way you got the most damage. I'm looking it up. I'm fucking looking it up. I bet you didn't get the most damage.
Oh, I've always got the most damage. Here we go.
You absolutely don't.
My last game we played, we come second. I got 8 kills, 3,000 damage. You did 3,200 damage. Nate did 1,000. He didn't do anything that game. He let us down.
So Nate was a sandbag. Holy shit. 1,000 damage. Is that it? Holy shit. We did fucking 20 kills between the three of us? I don't remember. How did we come fucking second in that game? I do not remember that game.
Because we ran into a house and got shot from the right, and you kept going up the stairs, and then Nate ran into the house and kept going behind you, and he was still getting shot on the right. And then I think Nate went down, and I went into the room, started gassing the guy, and I threw a flame at him. You might have gone down. The dude inside the house then ran outside the house, and I shot him. I don't know if there was more in there. There might have been, but anyway.
There was another guy upstairs that I thought we'd cleared out. So I went upstairs to get the angle on the last guys, but we got done. Yeah, and the guys who got first got hard circle gifted because the circle shifted away from us in the most aggressive fashion possible.
No, we got uh the circle ended up on my side, and it was 3 teams left, and I was letting them shoot each other, and I was like hiding behind a car.
Oh, I'm thinking about the other game. I remember now.
Yeah,
Yep.
and it
This was
was
up in the mountains, like
yeah, there was
north
like I don't know
east of Dam, right?
6 or 7 people left.
Yeah.
I might have been 6, it might have been 2 on 3. And then I was hiding behind a car. I knew exactly where they were. I just kind of let them run past. It was this moment of the gas is like literally behind me. Do I shoot them and try and get away with it, or do I just sneak my way in? And I saw the dude run behind a tree, but then I lost him. I didn't know where he was. Like I didn't know if he was hiding behind the tree or like he just kept going, like out of my line
Yep.
of sight. And so I just fucking gas the tree, and he like panics and starts running out of the gas, and then I shoot him. His friend is like not even watching; he's still shooting at the other team, and so I have to take him out as well.
Yep.
Yeah, and then it was 3 on
And
1.
that was like a 1v3. Yep.
Yeah, and they just immediately just rushed me as soon as they saw that they I
Yeah.
was over there shooting people. So
It was a good
anyway,
game. Good game. Shields are awesome. I think you can agree.
we didn't win
When
any
all
of those
3 of us
games. Like 8 of us, we played like 8 games, I think.
20 kills, Luke. 20 kills and 7,000 damage in trios, and you're like, oh, we didn't get any wins. Like, get the fuck out of here. Fucking, we got unlucky. We got unlucky.
Got unlucky. That's what it was. The game before that, we came 37th. You did 45 damage.
Oh, get the fuck out. Yeah, so we can't blame Shields for that one because I clearly didn't have a shield. I got
Okay,
fucking
that's what it is.
killed on the fucking drop, didn't I? Obviously. Like, what the now anytime I don't win a game, you're like, well, shields don't work. Like, I'm supposed to have a fucking 100% win rate or some garbage. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Notice you didn't bring up the game where I came third and I got fucking 2k damage, and because you weren't in that game. Never mind.
I wasn't in that game.
No. What about 8th? Hey? 8th, and yep, did more damage than you again. Classic. Absolute classic. Yeah, there's just this trend of me doing more damage than you.
Oh,
And you getting more kills because you steal all my kills.
yeah.
Ooh.
And we played.
And then
We came
the next
4th
game I
in
looked
this
at.
one. This is the one where we didn't use shields. And I
you got
did.
more damage. What a coincidence.
Yeah, I did 3,500.
3.3, 3.5. This guy.
3.3.
Anyway, and
we
you only did
proved it.
10% more damage to me. We proved incontrovertibly that shields fucking rule. And yeah. And I noticed we didn't win when we didn't have shields, so looks like you're wrong.
We didn't win at all. Because
No,
most
we didn't.
most of the games, except 2 of them, we played without shields.
It's true. Yes.
Although we had
Anyway.
Nate seems to be letting us down, judging by these stats.
I
don't know what's going on.
He's having a rough one.
Yeah.
All
right, I haven't played other than that, just that one day that we jumped in.
Yeah, I haven't played all that much, but still enjoying it. Actually, I mean, if you look at the stats, I played a fuck ton of it. I didn't have a lot of luck, but I played a fuck ton of it. I definitely had a good old tilt in one game where I was playing with Squirrel and Tom and Kleb, and Kleb's internet booted him, or I think his game crashed. I'm not sure, one or the other. But we were doing real well. And then Kleb dropped, and everything went to fucking shit. Everything, because it was just Squirrel and Tom left. and screw. Like I marked this one entire fucking team running. We were at prison. I think we redropped onto prison, and this entire team ran in on prison, like just through the fucking tunnel, and they went straight for this. Like there was a random loadout drop, and Squirrel had been fucking yapping on about his rocket launcher the whole time, and they all lay down on the same side of this fucking supply drop. I'm like, shoot him, Squirrel! Shoot him, Squirrel! And he's like, "Oh, shoot, hey!" in the way that he speaks. Who should I shoot? I'm like, the fucking ping! Shoot the fucking ping! Shoot on the fucking ping! Where else would you fucking shoot? Shoot the live ping! And by the time he managed to get his way over to it, too late. They left. He still fired the rocket, and then he died. He died. Did he die or Tom died? One of them died. They both went on the same tower, even though there was only one part of prison that would still be in the circle. They both went to the same tower that was the only part that was in the circle. And neither of them watched the ladder. And I was watching from behind, but I couldn't see. The whole team came up the stairs and got up the ladder and murdered them. And these two motherfuckers on the tower, neither of them was watching the ladder, and neither of them fucking heard a full fucking squad of 4 run up a fucking set of stairs or climb a ladder below them. Nothing. So they both died. And I killed 3 of them because I had a shield, and so it was real easy. And then I got Tom or Squirrel, whichever one wasn't finished, back up. And then I jumped. They died immediately to the gas, and I jumped down. And I got murdered trying to jump off the prison. And not a great one. Not a great one. Wasn't stoked. I wasn't stoked. But yeah, anyway. Oh, we had a good game with Bear. Oh, this game was actually fucking hilarious. I think we went Superstore and we redropped at Farmlands, and we fought our fucking dicks off at Farmlands. We must have fought for fucking ages. We're just going from fucking mission to mission, like just non-stop doing our best to like eat this shit out. And like at one point though, 3 of us go down. It was me and Nate and Bear, and I think it was Kleb. And so Bear was the only one left. And Bear manages to get fucking the $13,500 he needs to get all 3 of us back in. Runs over to this like fucking buy zone, the buy zone at Farmlands that like sometimes spawns in the middle of the fucking field. Runs over there, buys all of us back in. We land on a fucking land where we died. And we managed to fucking bust our way all the way up to 3rd in that game with 20 kills as a squad. That was fucking spectacular. I have no idea. Like Bear must have gotten so much fucking XP out of the game because he just fucking brought so many people back in, and it was a big effort from him. It was fucking hilarious.
Nice.
But yeah. Anyway, still having fun.
Yeah, I want to see them do some gameplay changes in this next season, not just new blueprints and characters. Like, I don't know, chuck some other gameplay stuff in there, change up the meta a bit. All right, should we do some news? I think that's everything. We check.
Yep, that's it.
Looks like it. All right, some news quickly. So last week we were talking about the rumors about a PlayStation 5 reveal event. This was confirmed, I think, the next day, or at least 2 days later,
Yeah.
on Friday. So PlayStation was looking to host a live stream where they would be showcasing the PlayStation 5 as well as a bunch of games. But that was then postponed about 3 days later. It was 3 days later, which is something we talked about
Yep.
before. Yeah, some people were upset. I don't know why some people were upset about an event they didn't know about 3 days earlier,
Yeah.
and now they're upset that it's not happening on that day anymore.
Yeah.
Like, the outrage. I've now got to wait another 2 weeks or something. Yeah, that just
Right. Yeah. It's just ridiculous. The idea that people are upset about this shit. Like, imagine how difficult. Like, I don't know. I've found it difficult to concentrate on doing my job this week, and my job doesn't have anywhere near as much weighing on it as someone trying to fucking launch a new fucking PlayStation or some shit to the world. And yeah, like, I don't know, just get some perspective, you know? Shit.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. So following that, Cyberpunk, the Night City Wire event they announced a few weeks back has also been postponed by 2 weeks. So that'll be happening towards the end of June instead. I'm not sure yet if this is going to be something we see happening from a lot of publishers or developers. This was, I guess, this is E3 week traditionally. E3, like, is E3 would be this weekend, I guess.
Yeah, it
Generally.
would be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there is definitely still a lot of announcements coming over the next couple of weeks, but they may get pushed back. Shoot, all things are happening right now.
Yep.
All right, next up we've got, and I don't know if you've read this yet. This is something that came out today, but Bloomberg did a story on the developers behind Kerbal Space Program 2. So that game was announced a little while back, a couple months back, in collaboration with Take-Two, who are now publishing the game. And what's happened since then was the developers are looking to extend the development of Kerbal Space Program 2 for another 6 months to add extra features into it, as well as wanting to look at selling the studio. And at some point during those negotiations, the contract that was written up or the deal that was put in place was something that the founders of the studio were not happy with, which the studio name is, did I write it down here? Star Theory. So they were looking at this contract to extend the development and also be bought out by 2K, or Take-Two. And for whatever reason, the founders didn't like the deal. They ended up backing out of it. And in doing so, Take-Two then cancelled the contract with the studio for the development of Kerbal Space Program 2. And then started poaching a bunch of their staff to create a new studio, which would then go on to make or continue the development of this game. And so this is something that started towards the end of last year, around about December. And since that began, they ended up taking around about 12 of the 30 employees working on that game at Star Theory, including the creative director and the studio head. And then obviously, since then, this studio has had to stop working on that game. That was their income from the contract they had with Take-Two. And then the global pandemic hit, and they were no longer able to go out and do pitches and things like that. Stuff like GDC was cancelled. And so due to that, this studio didn't have any more funding and had to close down as of March. So that's bit of a story that came out this morning. There's a lot to look into there. Obviously, some people are upset that I guess Take-Two has gone out and taken a lot of their staff. We obviously don't know the full story behind this. Why the founders backed out behind the deal, why Take-Two decided to cancel the contract. Was there more things going on behind the scenes that we don't know about?
Yeah.
Nearly half the employees came across. It sounds like at this stage. The rest of them didn't. I'm sure there'll be a lot more behind this that we'll find out about, but at this stage it's still very early, and we're getting, I guess, one part of the story at this moment. So some people are getting upset, but I feel like this is we don't have enough information as of yet to make some informed decisions as to what actually went down at this point. But still an interesting story at this stage of time. Did you see this at all yet, or you're catching up to it now?
Just catching up on it now. It definitely seems like one where there isn't like exactly enough story, and it's definitely told from one side. But yeah, like, I don't know. I realize that they're your favorite fucking publisher at the moment, Luke. But
don't say anything bad about
it. Does have a bit of a history of like they remember when they took over the Kerbal Space Program and they changed the EULA that they were going to take all the data and all that kind of stuff. Like, this isn't the first time Take-Two's run into controversy with the Kerbal Space Program dev team. Obviously, different dev team, although a lot of the same devs.
Sure.
Like, I don't know, it just seems a bit weird.
Yeah.
Like, it's definitely a scummy move from fucking Take-Two to poach staff on LinkedIn, as per the tweet. At the same time, reading into a bit more, it seems like Star Theory were already overextended on their deadlines, and looked like they were going to miss more deadlines, and probably not going to hit the release. So I wonder if Take-Two were putting the squeeze on them from that angle, and then there's an crunch culture around video games at the moment that I'm sure plays into it and stuff. Like, there's a lot going on here that my very brief reading of Schreier's story on Bloomberg I haven't gotten out of. It just seems to be from Star Theory's perspective.
Yeah.
So far. And yeah, they're not really saying, they're not. I mean, it does quote Private Division quite a lot, and that's the semi-indie arm of Take-Two, right?
Yep, that's right.
But yeah. Like, it seems to use that to frame the Star Theory position more than anything. But yeah, anyway, I'm sure it will develop further, and yeah, I mean, it seemed like people from Private Division are pretty open about the fact that they were trying to poach, air quotes, Star Theory developers. I suppose if Take-Two, I don't know, it's hard to say. I don't want to sound like I'm making excuses for Take-Two or for Star Theory or anyone without more details, and I haven't read the full thing yet. So yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, we don't know the full story. All right, and next up we've got the last Battlefield 5 update. We'll be hitting tomorrow. It has 2 new maps, 9 new weapons, 6 new vehicles, 5 gadgets, and 3 new types of grenades. So yeah, this is the last update for a Battlefield game that is not going to be getting a successor this year, as far as we know.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like a new DICE game. And yeah, they'll be basically stopping support on it. So
yeah,
I don't know. We've talked about this before. I don't think it bodes well for them to like completely stop support. They put out like I can't even remember the name of it, but the Battlefield Battle Royale Firestorm, and basically took that studio that was making it off the project and didn't update it anymore. Like the support of that was just horrendous. And like when you're trying to get consumers or your community the trust in them to be like, oh yeah, you can put a game on as a live service, then this sort of thing doesn't bode well for them. And sort of today's standard for a live service game, when you look at what everyone else is doing, at least. Like when you invest in something and you put that much time into it, you want them to at least like do something with it, and that doesn't seem like what DICE is interested in at this stage. It sounds like they're ready for that game to just die,
or at least open it up to people.
the
Like,
community.
there's a reason people are still playing Battlefield 2 today, you know. And there's a reason significantly fewer people are still playing Battlefield 3. And it's because Battlefield 3 is a much more closed system compared to Battlefield 2.
Right. Battlefield 5 came out in September 2018.
Yeah.
That's less than 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're going to stop. Look at Rainbow Six Siege, came out in 2015. April 2015. And that game is going strong. Like, it's just such a weird, I don't know, like what their idea is. They just don't seem to want to put any money behind it. Like, this, I just don't understand why they're doing that. Maybe maybe EA's focus is on Apex at this stage, and they're happy with that community just die. But when the next game comes along, will they stick around for that, or will they go for something else? Battlefield 5 already had less players than the Battlefield before it. People were kind of over it. Maybe they're going in a different direction. I guess we'll see. And the last piece of news we've got here, is Sea of Thieves is now available on Steam for people that want to play it on Steam and not the Windows store. It's crossplay, so you'll be able to play with people that are on the PC platform, the console platforms, and along with that, I think there's a new update as well out, which I haven't really looked into, but they're generally doing pretty good stuff over at Sea of Thieves, and I'm always thinking about jumping in to check it out, but we can never get a crew. Nate's never interested.
I know. We'll just play 2-player. Fuck it.
Yeah.
And if anyone else wants to jump into the fucking Sea of Thieves Discord. It's the one with the pirate flag underneath AFK. Why is it under AFK? I don't know. Anyway.
I don't know. Yeah.
The top 2 fucking games on Steam are both Microsoft games. Or in the Will of the Wisps and Sea of Thieves.
Right now?
The top sellers on Steam right now. Yeah.
Oh, the top. Okay, I thought you meant the most played games. I was like, what the fuck?
No. Hold up. No. But yeah, that's pretty fucking huge. That's a big deal. Red Dead Redemption coming in 4th. Halo the Master Chief at 5th. So in the top 5, 3 are Microsoft. Why the fuck is Skyrim in 6th place? What the fuck is going on there?
Skyrim is always... Oh, they must have had a sale on.
They must have. No, it's not on sale. It's $60. I got nothing.
It might have been on sale.
Maybe.
Was it on sale?
Anyway.
Yeah. All right. That is the news for this week. We got any questions?
Not unless we got any emails.
I don't think we do.
I don't think we do.
That's fine. We can wrap up.
Yes.
All right, The Gap. You can find us on iTunes, Android, Windows Store, Spotify, YouTube, all those places you get your podcast apps. We're under The Gap, the GA Podcast, The Gap Podcast. Please rate and review the show if you have a moment. It helps other people find it, because there's a lot of podcasts out there. There ain't that many good gaming podcasts. They're as insightful as we are. So
not as insightful as we are.
Up the top. That's where we need to go. You can send us questions if you want to, thegapodcast@gmail.com. You can also send us questions on our Discord page if you want to, thegapodcast.com/Discord. We've also got some other channels in there people can talk about. Maybe you saw a movie and you want to talk about a movie. Maybe you watched X-Men on the weekend and it's the most terrible movie you've ever seen. You want to tell us about it. You do that. I've
Yep.
seen it. It's bad. The new X-Men
Oh,
film.
I watched the Silent Hill films on the weekend.
Why?
Oh my lord! They're awful. Because they're Dead by Daylight. We were
okay.
wondering who that chick was. I'm like, why is that such a big deal? I don't know. I feel like I should go back and play the games, but fucking hell.
Do you think it's worse than
Those
the X-Men
movies.
film, the latest one, Dark Phoenix? Yeah.
No, Dark Phoenix is so much worse.
Yeah.
Dark Phoenix is like one of the worst films. If I hadn't watched Cats recently, it'd be the worst film I'd watched in recent memory. But I've watched Cats recently, so yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway,
yeah.
You can find us on social media, facebook.com/GAPodcast, twitter.com/GAPodcast. You can also go to our YouTube page, thegapodcast.com/YouTube. You can watch Joab being terrible with a shield.
Fuck off.
Thinks he's getting sandbagged, but it's actually a barrel behind him. If you want to go do that, check it out.
Whatever.
You can go to our website, which is thegapodcast.com. It's got links to all the things we just talked about, including past episodes of the show. Or you can listen to this show if you want as well from the website. And that is all thanks to our Patreon members who help support us. If you'd like to help us as well, you can go to patreon.com/GAPodcast and become a monthly subscriber. You get the podcast early, like a day or two. A day. I think it's 1 day usually.
Unless there's embargo, like there will be next week.
Yeah. Do you know what
what time?
Is it Friday for you?
It's Friday. It is definitely Friday for me.
Yes. So it'll probably come out later next week and no Patreon, just so we can get that out, on time. Otherwise it'll be out for release and that. You don't want that. You want the early
5
scoops.
PM. 5 p.m. on Friday.
Yeah.
5:01 p.m.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's generally what time we release anyway.
For the public, yes.
Yeah, for the usual
patrons get it earlier. And we're very grateful to our patrons. They're the best.
Absolutely. And I think that is it for the spruiking. But you got anything you would like to pimp out that you've been working on?
No.
Nothing for me either. You go to Twitter.
Jojo on Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah, it still works at the moment, which is good.
I'm not posting on Twitter all that much this week, but yeah. Oh yeah, you're still allowed on the internet and stuff.
Yeah, at the moment. I think he tried and didn't get very far. You can find me, Luke Lawrie, Lawrie, and that is it. Next week, as we said, Last of Us 2. You hear about it here. See you then.
Right here. Black Lives Matter.